Yeah, my name's Paul Ebbs, and I am the animal cruelty investigator for Fulton County. And so I investigate everything from no dog houses up to felony dog fighting. And there's been a lot of, it's all right with me if the dog's up here, I don't care. I mean, I don't know whether you got rules on this, but the dog can be up here. All the dogs can be up here if you want. I got no problem with them. I thought Vic is one of the hot button issues with the animal activists. I love the girls, most of them are girls, animal activists. I love them to death, but we separate on Vic. And the reason for that is because no question about it, to me, Vic was a jackass. No question about it, all right? But when you look at Vic, it's like Woodstock. There were 78 dogs with Vic, and 1,000 people claim to have a Vic dog. You know, you run into people, oh, I had one of the Vic dogs. Well, you can't, because there's not that many dogs. Not all of y'all could have had a Vic dog. So it's a mushrooming thing. Did he hurt animals? Yeah, he did. Was he doing, he was not charged with any animal cruelty at all. Vic was convicted on something with money, federal charges of money. Did 2 years in prison, he lost $20 million. I'm wondering at what point is it enough? You know what I mean? And the reason is because Vic is volunteering his time with the Humane Society of the United States to go around and talk to dudes about why this is not a good idea to get into dog fighting and dog breeding. And I don't know if you guys, did you have experience with dogs before now?
Yeah. Yes,
you might have been breeding, I don't know. You know, I mean, it's out there, and I run into guys all the time, try to tell them, man, you really can't make any money at this, because I got a shelter full of these pitties, and they're all like, no, man, this is a Gotti, okay? So everybody thinks they know about pit bulls. Vic will talk to young guys like you and you that aren't going to listen to me. All right, honestly, on the street. I'm an old guy, all right? I'm an old white guy. Vic can talk to dudes. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's why I'm thinking if Vic is contrite, he did his time. He said he's sorry. I believe he's sorry. And then he's trying to make amends. I'm like, yeah, let's let him make amends. If he can reach some people that aren't reachable, if they can relate to Vic, more power to it. And I don't know if you relate to Vic or not, I'm just using that as an example. There has to be a point where you've done, you know, when you steal a cookie off the stove and mama sends you to your room, whoops your butt or whatever, you know it's over. There's got to be a point where this is over. But in the animal activists, well, they just hate Michael Vick, period. So the only reason Vic came up really is because Joe Namath made a comment today that he thought Vic was a better quarterback than what the Jets have, and I can't remember the name of that guy. And Vic was a good, I mean, Vic is he did well here with the Falcons. So I'm a little different in that I don't hate Michael Vick. Do I know Michael Vick? I do not know Michael Vick. I know that there's a whole culture about hating Michael Vick, and it makes good print, and he was an idiot. Vic didn't win his fights. People wanted to fight him because nothing he had won anything. He only had a couple of dogs that were fighting dogs, and he had a lot of dogs that were not, there were dogs that went right into homes. There wasn't anything really grossly wrong with them. Have a couple of fighting dogs. So when Jason was out here, did he talk to you about game dogs?
Yeah, he talked to us a little bit about game dogs.
Yeah, there's bait dogs. There's an international level of dog fighting, believe it or not. Dudes get on a plane from Indiana and fly to Rome, Italy, and they got a dog fight. That stuff we'll never see. Well, I won't. Yeah, I mean, it's money, big time money. There's international dog fighting. You're not going to touch it. It's protected. We won't ever see that. There's what we call the original dog fighting, and that's these guys. It's usually in the country, and it's pretty sophisticated. You don't just come up and say, "Oh, I'd like to go to a dog fight tonight." "Oh, sure, come on." Yeah. They got underground magazines that listing code, and the code isn't really sophisticated. It's kind of like gang code, you know. I mean, you know how the gangsters got their own little thing. I can't keep up with it, but you know, you got your districts and your territories and all that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, aren't there elements of both the Crips and the Bloods? The Folk Nation is Crip. Different sets within that, right? So I know that we have that here because I've seen some of the gang graffiti from the Folk Nation, and they have they use a sign like this, which in Hebrew is the word Shin, the first letter in the name of God. So it's kind of it's used in the Aaronic blessing. But I've seen the gangsters, I've seen the dudes standing, the gangbangers standing out on the corner doing that. Oh, wow. And they incorporate the Mogen David, which is the Star of David. They incorporate that too. So anyway, these underground magazines it'll tell you where a dog fight is, but they're recognized. You know, they don't just, it's people that, they know people and they know the bloodlines. All the stuff is just under the surface. Police know this, but the GBI said in order for us to investigate something like that and to get into that, we'd have to have a guy undercover for about 18 months just to get invited to a dog fight. And on this level, it's just not worth it to them. So largely, that's nothing we're not gonna see that. These people train with, these dogs fight at about 36 to 38 pounds. I mean, it's very scientific. You want a game light dog, and they fight for an hour and a half to 2 hours in the pit, and they will not bite a human being. So, I mean, they just don't. If it bites a person, you're disqualified. So the guys can get down in the pit with the dogs. You know, they're down there, and they're not touching the dogs. It's a disqualification, but the dog is not going to turn on them and bite them. They're just not going to do it. Where you dog in the street, you don't know, because the stuff that we will see, and it is a felony. Dog fighting is a felony. Felony is described as permanent disfigurement, even cropping the ears. You know how they take them? They're taking these razors, box cutters, and you hold the pitty, and they just zip the ears off. Okay, because pitties generally can take a lot of pain, and they're getting the ears cut off. Well, and I'm seeing these animals, and I have a couple of cases that are working their way through court on these because it's a felony. You do permanent disfigurement to an animal, it can be prosecuted on the felony level. It's not always done that way, but it can be prosecuted on the felony level. And it does hurt. They're saying, oh, this doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt them. It does hurt them. Somebody cut your ear off, you might not say anything, but it's gonna hurt. You know, so yeah, there's some jacked up stuff out there. There's a new thing. I don't know if y'all heard that. I don't really know. Generally, y'all are doing little bits of time, right? You're gonna be out in a couple months, hopefully, that kind of thing. You ever heard of trunking?
I think I heard that it was one of the trainers was telling us about it. When they would keep them in the trunk for a minute, and then they'll put another dog in the trunk with them, and whoever comes out. Who told us about it?
Yeah, it started with it started in Chicago, probably 6-7 years ago, and it was with one of the gangs. Used to be the Blackstone Rangers. I don't know who they are now. They got the Four Square, and they got several gangs in Chicago. I know them, but I don't really know them. Anyway, Chicago. Anybody from Chicago? Chicago's serious, man. Atlanta's serious too, but Chicago's serious. Chicago's serious and cold, and I mean cold weather. You know, yeah. And plus, they're cold-hearted. I mean, them folks shooting people. I mean, Chicago got a problem. So the big thing now is to be more thuggish, more cold than the next guy, right? I can't show any emotion. You know, this doesn't bother me. So they, and Atlanta is an area with good, you know, these old, you see the guys with the cars, they got some really nice cars, old model cars. Well, we don't have the salt on the roads that eats those cars up like they do up north, so we have more of those. You need a big trunk, like an Impala, 62 Impala, you know. I mean, I see a lot of Impalas around, so I look for that. I haven't caught any yet. I know that the police have, I mean, I'm not going to catch them. What I do is call the cops. I'm not Superman, but would be prosecuted in a felony level. They fight to the death, you know. I mean, they run around with the dudes. There's usually two guys in the car, and you're thumping the music because they got sound systems that cost what my house costs, you know. I mean, so they're hitting it, and so if people actually hear the growling, they don't know if it's part of the music. And you know, like if there's a break between one song to the other, and they'll hear this growling, and they don't know. So it's and they just don't know where it's coming from, and things. Somebody got a dog in that trunk. It is really, really hard to catch because they don't know. You know, if it was happening out here on the streets, you just wouldn't know. If it's, you know, if it's like on Metropolitan Parkway, if it's real crowded, you know, they might. Music thumping everywhere, you just wouldn't know. And there's $7,000-8,000 on these fights. They last about, you know, hour, driving around for about an hour until one of the dogs is dead, and the other one's pretty trash too, because nobody just comes out of there good. There's a winner and a loser, but the winner isn't worth much. A fight dog's good for about 5 fights, no more, and then they usually discard them. And we have picked them up. I mean, a real fight dog that's fought for that's fought in, you know, fought in the ring. Not these street fights that are 5-10 minutes long. You know, they'll throw them up because the police can't keep up with them. It's really hard to. We had them over at the park, Grant Park. They were just popping up. And the cops would go to one, and you know, a nice Sunday afternoon, families and stuff, and dog fighting, man. I mean, it's just amazing. But mostly the guys that are fighting them, they're not really fighting dogs. You can find Rottweilers in there. You find German Shepherds. You can find pitties, mixes like this. You know, a game dog really kind of looks more like this than your muscled up pitty. You know, guys are breeding these pitties now. Big Boy Kennels, what is that? Is that Liberty Kennels? Is that what it's called? It's down in Fairburn. He's a legitimate operation, but he's breeding these big ones, all right? And they breed the pits and the mastiffs together to try to get this bulk and size. But generally, neither of these dogs is an aggressive type dog. So you got these monster pits, and they're really gentle for the most part. It's kind of like mastiffs are not particularly aggressive. And you know, pitties really aren't either. I mean, you can make them aggressive and they're big and strong, but they're by nature not. So you put the mastiff in there, and that's a slower dog. See, anything you've got in like pit bull terrier, the word terrier, that's where you get all this energy. Terrier. They're just all over the place. So the mastiff doesn't have that. That's kind of they're kind of like more chill, you know, but they just sit there. But they're good for single chicks, because they can sit up in their car and nobody's coming over there that she don't want to come over there, because she just looks at this, you know, big dog. So that's a good thing. But as far as being a fighting animal, not really, which is good. We don't want them breeding fighting animals. They had a problem at DeKalb. They brought in at the DeKalb shelter, they brought in a game dog. They didn't know it was a game dog. And a game dog will look kind of like that. That's not a game dog, but you know, you got a skinny pit lab looking dog that's real friendly to people, real friendly, absolutely alerts on any animal moving and will kill them. And it killed anything in its immediate kennel area. If there's 7 dogs in there, kill them all. I think he killed 12 that night.
What killed 12?
One dog, a game dog. And it'd be like in the morning, it'd be like, hey, look what I did, you know? Yeah, that's their, yeah, that, not over here, but yeah, that's what I heard. Look what I did. I mean, they are killers. I mean, there's a big difference in a regular dog and these game dogs, but they alert on everything. I had a game dog over there. We had to go to I knew his game because he was really going on it. So.